Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a brave and daring young man named Jack. Jack lived in a small village at the foot of a great mountain, where the air was sweet and the people were kind. But Jack's village was plagued by a terrible problem. A giant had taken up residence in the mountain and was terrorizing the villagers. The giant was enormous, with skin as thick as bark and hair as wild as the wind. He would stomp down from the mountain, his footsteps shaking the earth, and snatch up villagers to devour for breakfast. The villagers lived in constant fear of the giant's wrath, and no one dared to stand up to him. But Jack was not afraid. He was determined to slay the giant and save his village. Jack spent every waking moment preparing for the battle ahead. He practiced his sword fighting, honed his archery skills, and studied the giant's movements, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Jack's parents, though worried for his safety, encouraged his bravery. His father, a blacksmith, forged a strong sword for Jack, and his mother, a healer, prepared potions to aid him in battle. The villagers, too, rallied behind Jack, offering what support they could. One day, Jack set out to face the giant. He packed a small bag with food, water, and his trusty sword, and began the long climb up the mountain. The air grew thinner, and the wind grew stronger as Jack ascended. But he pressed on, his heart pounding with excitement and fear. As he climbed, Jack encountered strange creatures and obstacles. He fought off fierce mountain lions and navigated treacherous paths. He met a wise old wizard who offered guidance and a magical amulet to protect him from harm. Finally, after many hours of climbing, Jack reached the giant's lair, a dark and foreboding cave deep in the mountain. The giant was waiting for him, its eyes glowing like embers in the dark. Jack drew his sword, took a deep breath, and charged forward. The battle was fierce and intense. The giant roared and swung its massive fists, but Jack dodged and weaved, striking back with all his might. The sword sliced through the giant's skin like paper, and the giant howled in pain and rage. But Jack was not deterred. He fought on, his sword flashing in the dim light of the cave until the giant lay defeated at his feet. The villagers cheered as Jack emerged from the mountain, victorious and proud. From that day on, Jack was known as the Giant Slayer, and his name was whispered in awe and reverence throughout the land. The villagers celebrated his bravery with feasts and songs, and Jack lived out the rest of his days as a hero, his name etched in the annals of history as a champion of the people. And as for the giant, its body was left to rot in the cave, a reminder to all of the power of courage and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. The mountain, once a symbol of fear, became a symbol of hope and inspiration, and Jack's legend lived on, inspiring future generations to stand up against any giant that dared to threaten their village. Years later, when Jack was old and gray, he would sit by the fire and tell the story of his bravery to his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And as they listened, their eyes wide with wonder, Jack would smile, knowing that his legacy would live on and that the Giant Slayer's name would never be forgotten.